friends, this is Hedda. Welcome back to my channel. I've just gotten home from a 2-week road trip and I'm so excited to be back to making videos. Before we get started on my May bullet journal setup, can we take a moment to admire these gorgeous press-on nails? They're from Salon Uriel. She made these for me as a gift and they fit my May theme perfectly. Definitely check out her website. I've put a link in the description box. The past couple of months I've done collage themes in my journal, so this month I wanted to focus on drawing rather than gluing. Don't get me wrong, I love collaging, but I also love drawing. It is my first true love. So this month I am drawing everything. I'm going to use a tiny bit of washi tape from Paper Monogatari, but other than that it's just fine liners and water-based markers. I'm using black Copic fine liners in various sizes, brush pens from Archer & Olive, and Crayola markers, but any fine liners and water-based markers will do if you'd like to recreate this setup. I'll link all of the markers and pens I'm using in the description box in case you are interested. The theme I chose for May is sunflowers and butterflies. I rarely do floral themes, so I thought it would be a fun challenge for me, and I really like sunflowers. The butterflies just kind of came naturally since I've been making a lot of butterfly stickers for my little sticker shop, Ikigai Papier. And speaking of my shop, I am releasing 3 new sticker sheets to go with this theme. As I'm recording this, they are being printed and cut, but you can already order them from my shop. I'll put a link to them in the description box below. Anyway, for my cover page, I am doing an illustration on the right page, and then I am doing a smaller design on the left page where the title for May and a small calendar will go. I was browsing Pinterest to get some inspiration and this simple art piece popped up. I decided to go for a similar pose for my girl on the spread. I look up poses all the time. It's very helpful if you don't know exactly what a body looks like in a certain position. You can also take a picture of yourself in that pose, but it's sometimes a little bit hard. I'll admit that this page looks a bit random at first, but it will all come together in the end, I promise. Sunflowers are actually really easy to draw, at least the way I drew them. I'm using fine liners in the sizes 0.25 and 0.1 for them. Basically, all you need to remember is that the center of a sunflower is much bigger in relation to the petals than on most flowers. So with a pencil, I draw a circle and then I draw a bigger circle around it for where I want the outer edge of the petals to go. With a fine liner, I'm drawing a kind of bumpy line along the innermost circle, and then I use the same fine liner to draw petals coming out from the center. And to make it more realistic, I am drawing the petals in different thicknesses and lengths, since nature isn't symmetrical or perfect. I then use the thinner fine liner to draw lines in the center of all the petals, as well as 2 smaller circles within the center of the sunflower. And these last circles are mostly to show that there are many circles of seeds within the center of the flower. This way I don't have to draw all of the seeds. I'm basically just trying to give it a bit more life, and that's also why I'm using 3 different shades of brown to color in the center to make it look less flat. So this will all make more sense once I actually start coloring in everything, but just keep what I said in mind. On the left page, I am drawing a small calendar for May, and I'm using a brush pen from Archer & Olive to letter the title, May. May is such a short word, so I tried to make it as big and bubbly as I could. I went around the yellow with a black fine liner to give it a little bit more definition, and then I'm also using a thinner black fine liner to make a kind of drop shadow behind and below the letters. When making drop shadows, try to imagine which direction the light is coming from and then draw the shadow accordingly. I'm drawing 1 lonely sunflower next to the title and then a rectangle above it, which will be a kind of picture frame. I drew a large butterfly on top because I felt like my spread needed more butterflies. And then I used a green, a yellow, and an orange marker to kind of make some swatches, which are the circles that you see on top of the rectangle. I made a kind of grid behind everything as well to kind of give it a collage feel. And then inside of the picture frame, I am drawing more sunflowers because I guess we can never get enough sunflowers. I used a thinner fine liner for the sunflowers inside of the rectangle since it's supposed to be a picture or a photo or something like that. So giving it a little bit less definition and also making the lines a little more squiggly, a little bit less certain, I guess, gives it a very different look than the sunflower in front of the rectangle, which you can kind of see here. I will admit one thing about this whole setup, and that is that I wasn't able to add any highlights. I actually forgot my white gel pens at home when I filmed this. In case you don't know, I film most of my videos at cafes because I don't really have a desk set up at home. So I would have really liked to add some white highlights to the flowers and the butterflies and the girl's hair and everything. So I might end up adding that later at another time when I feel like it, but for now, no highlights. It does make me a little bit sad, but it's also not the end of the world. So yeah, but now you know. For the petals, I am using a Calligraph brush pen from Arthur & Olive, which is double-sided. These brush pens are a bit funny because some of the markers have the exact same color on both ends, but some of them, like this one called Orange Yellow, has a much deeper orange on the thin side and then a lighter yellow on the thick side. I know that Arthur & Olive says that the colors are supposed to complement each other, but it is a little bit confusing since the color on the cap on both sides are exactly the same, so I do have to swatch these like almost every time I want to use them because I keep forgetting which color is on which side. But anyway, I'm using the darker shade to color on the inside of the petals, and then I'm using the lighter shade to completely fill the petals. The trick with markers is to start with the darkest shades and then using the lighter shade to blend the colors together. If you work in circular motions, it won't be as streaky either. It took me such a long time to realize that this trick didn't just apply to alcohol-based markers, but also water-based ones. So even with just regular brush pens, we can avoid the streaky look, unless that's what you're going for, because it does look cool sometimes, I will admit. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, and it's been a lot of fun to draw sunflowers and butterflies, both physically in my journal, but also digitally for my monthly printable journaling kit for my Patreon page. And speaking of Patreon, I'm super excited to announce that my top tier patrons will receive exclusive stickers every month from now on. I will no longer be sending out stickers that are also available in the shop, but rather make an exclusive sticker sheet and also a vinyl sticker every month. Patrons who join the Charles tier during April will get these exclusive stickers that match my April theme, and those rolling over or joining in May will get these exclusive stickers which match my May theme in my journal. There are currently 20 or so spots left on the Charles tier as I'm recording this, so it is almost full. There are 100 spots in total. So if it's something that you're interested in, definitely go check it out. On the top tier, you also, of course, get access to all of the digital rewards for the 3 lower tiers. That's all I'm gonna say about Patreon. I think I will put a link in the description box in case you want to check it out. It is a very fun place. We have a Discord server as well, and the people there are so nice. To color in the girl, I am using some markers that I've never used before. These are the Crayola Colors of the World markers. They do come in a thicker size, but I have these thin ones which were gifted to me by Suzanne. She's a girl I met here in Salt Lake and she's super sweet. She gave me these markers last time we met up and I really wanted to use them in a spread. Admittedly, the thin size don't make them ideal to color in large surfaces like this girl's face, for example. I struggled a little bit with that, but the colors are so pretty and I wanted to just use what I had instead of going out and buying more markers. So yeah, for her hair and for her skin, I used these thin markers, and for the hair, it was actually a really fun look because I used 3 different shades of brown and beige to color in her hair. I started with the darkest shade and kind of made my way to the lighter shades, just making tons of strokes with all 3 shades, and I went over them several times to kind of make sure there wasn't as much white space left. I think the final look is really cool, so I think it was a good thing that I had these thin markers instead of the thicker ones. Crayola markers are hard to come by in Norway, where I'm from, but here in the US they are everywhere, and they're also really cheap. So if you don't have any markers and you want to get started with journaling, or you just want to expand your existing marker collection, I can definitely recommend Crayola markers like the Crayola Super Tips, for example, or these Colors of the World markers. And that's it for my cover page. Moving on to my calendar spread for this month, I decided to do something slightly different. I will have a grid calendar and then sections for tasks and goals, which I call focus, by the way, but I will also include room for a habit tracker. I just thought I'd try including a habit tracker in my calendar spread. Maybe it will make me less likely to forget to fill it in, and it also kind of forces me to narrow down the habits that I want to track to 3. Normally I'll do 5, 6, 7. We'll see how I end up feeling about it at the end of May, but for now I'm kind of excited about the change, even if it's just a small adjustment. So with the spread, as with my cover page, I'm kind of just drawing everything with my black fine liners at first. I'm using 3 different sizes in the spread. I'm using a 0.5 or 0.7 for all of the big boxes, like the calendar grid, and all of the boxes for my tasks and focus and all of that. And then I'm using 0.25 for all of the drawings and for all of the lines that are inside of a box, if that makes sense. And then I'm using a 0.1 again for all of the details on the sunflowers, as well as some extra details on the boxes. Like you can see, I am adding some drop shadows, very subtle drop shadows here on most of the boxes. This was kind of an afterthought, but I think that it turned out quite nice. I didn't color them in or anything, so they're just kind of there. I realized I didn't draw any butterflies on this page, only sunflowers, but I think it works. I tried to draw the sunflowers in a way that made them overlap, and mostly behind the boxes, but some of them are in front of boxes as well. I made sure to get some close-ups of me drawing each sunflower so that you can kind of see more clearly what I was talking about earlier about the petals and the circles and everything. I know that sometimes explaining something with words isn't enough, so that's why I'm happy that I have the video to go along with my explanation so that you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. I really like how the spread turned out. I really like the structure of the boxes. I like that the little headers or subtitles are in their own boxes with different colors. Overall, I'm just really happy with how it turned out, and sometimes calendar spreads are a little bit hard for me to figure out. The grid calendar can just be so big and obtrusive, and I don't know, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to make a nice looking calendar spread when you want to include so many other things as well. But I am really happy with how this one turned out, and I am really excited to start filling it in, to start using my habit tracker, and just, making the spread seem more lived in. Like I mentioned before, I did film this video in a coffee shop. I filmed this one at the Honeysuckle Coffee Co. I think it's called. Yeah, I just call it Honeysuckle. It's just south of Salt Lake City in Utah. They make really great coffee. You'll soon see me have latte number 2 for the day because I really needed it, and this took quite some time. And I know some of you will be worried about my wrist, but actually my wrist was doing just fine during all of this. It was actually my thumb, or like part of your hand or your palm that is just below your thumb, was kind of hurting a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm holding my pens differently because I am worried about wrist pain. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it was a long day, and I'd just gotten back from my road trip the day before, but I knew that this would be the only day I would be able to film this video, and I really wanted to get it out before the end of the month. For those of you who like to take inspiration from my videos, but also for my patrons, because they get a journaling kit and printable stickers and everything together with this monthly video every month. And it's important to me that they get their stuff on time, you know? All that was left to do at this point was just to add the final colors around each of the rectangles and also add numbers for the month. I start my calendars on Mondays. I know that some people like to start them on Sundays. Honestly, that just confuses me, so I like to start mine on Mondays. That's when my week starts. And then it was time to just add some final details, which involved some sparkles all over the page and also outlining the May header because I hadn't done that for some reason. So yeah, lots of sparkles just makes everything come together. I know I say this like every month, but it's true. I also colored in the boxes for each of my 3 habit trackers. I did 3 different colors, just felt like that part of the spread needed a bit more color, and then a little drop shadow on the header, and I think we are there. Yep, that's the spread. The next spread I am making is a content plan for May. I realize that most people won't have any use for a spread like this in their journal, but for me this is kind of like a work project spread, if that makes sense. I'm really failing at keeping up with all of my socials, especially like posting on TikTok and YouTube. Not my main videos. I think I'm doing pretty good at posting every week except for last weekend. But I'm talking about like other posts, shorts, YouTube stories, etc. It's just a lot to keep up with, posting videos, TikToks, reels, pictures. So sometimes I just need some extra help from my journal. And hopefully this spread can work both as a reminder and as a tracker, helping me see how often I post where as well as what I post. And there's also a little section at the bottom for brainstorming and for content ideas, which is helpful for me to have. I am color coding each of the different types of posts that I want to track, and then I will put a dot of these in the squares in the calendar above. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure it does, but it makes sense to me, and I'm the one who's going to use it, so that's the most important. I'm not decorating this spread a ton. I am just drawing some sunflowers, and then I'm kind of just like containing the spread to the middle part. I used a little bit of washi tape just to fill this empty white space, and then I'm adding some sparkles around the page as well as some drop shadows to each of the boxes in the calendar. I don't normally do calendars that are kind of just floating squares like this, but I thought it looked kind of fun and a little bit different. So yeah, I really like how it turned out. It seems that I make a content plan spread every other month, but that's exactly why I love bullet journaling, because I can just make whatever I need at the time. The last spread I am making for this monthly setup is a playlist spread. This one is just for fun. It doesn't really have anything to do with productivity or keeping track of things. It's just a fun spread where I collect my favorite songs over the past month. In this spread, I decided to do the title with a green marker instead of yellow, which is a little bit different. I felt like I needed a little bit more green, since there are only a few green details in the content planner spread. The design of this page is actually inspired by my cover page. So I did the title at the top, and then I am making the same border around, or kind of behind, everything else on the page. So that kind of ties back to the cover page, and it also gives this spread a little bit more structure since it's just like a bunch of floating things. I am drawing some butterflies and sunflowers, and then I have these rectangles. They kind of look like Polaroids, but not really because the bottom section is a bit too thick. But yeah, I'll have little pictures inside of the frame, and then on the bottom I will be writing which song and artist. So I decided to actually fill 3 of them with washi tape from Paper Monogatari just because I didn't feel like drawing everything. The setup actually took a long time to make, I think because I had a lot of lines to draw. For the inside of the frames, I'm actually drawing the sunflowers with a thinner fine liner than the sunflowers that are on the outside of the frames, if that makes sense. And I'm just doing this to make it feel more like a picture, so they're a little bit more faded than the other sunflowers. I didn't have the correct markers to make any color changes. I'm a little bit limited at the moment since I'm in the US, but I did my best. I also colored in the butterflies, again with the bright orange and also a green to bring a little bit more green in there, kind of tie in with the title and everything. And then the very last thing that I did was to just make some like play buttons. I realize I don't have very much room to write on all of these, but I guess I will work it out somehow. I think this spread has the perfect balance of structure and playfulness, and the sunflowers really bring some brightness and color to the spread. The washi tapes that I used are all from Paper Monogatari, which is Anna's shop. She's Journal Away here on YouTube. They have daisies on them and not sunflowers, but at least the colors are similar, right? Anyway, I think they looked really good together with my drawings, and I guess I just wanted an excuse to use them in my bullet journal. I did use them in my travel journal this month on my road trip, so that was really nice. And those are all of the spreads that I am making for May. I will of course also make weekly spreads, one for each week like I normally do. I've been pretty good at posting reels of me making those weekly spreads in April, so I'm hoping to keep that going into May so that you can see how I am setting up those weekly spreads. I have tons of ideas. Basically what I'm saying is, if you're not following me on Instagram, you should go follow me there, because I do post a lot of pictures of my journal as well as pictures of pen pal letters that I don't make videos for. I've made a lot in April actually, so there are a lot of pen pal envelopes on my Instagram feed at the moment. And other than that, I guess all that's left to say is thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it. If you watched this video all the way to the end, please put a sunflower or a butterfly emoji in your comment, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do make a lot of fun journaling, art, pen pal, reading journal content. Check out the links to my other social media as well as my shop in the description box. Thank you again to Salon Uriel for supplying me with these gorgeous press-on nails. I really love them. Thank you again so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!